Yay, drawing your weapons. Okay, where is that bastard? We got a lot to talk about. The Lord Inquisitor is engrossed in studying star system charts and reports, which are massed on the desk like the ridges of a formidable mountain range. There are shadows beneath his eyes, which are ruthlessly dissecting the latest report, and his skin seems stretched taut over the bones of his skull. Without turning his head to you, Calcazar says warily, what voice did I use for him? Ah, greetings, your lordship. Your time is impeccable. A white-haired servant. Are you important? An aged servant with the bearing of a veteran approaches the two of you. In a precise movement, he replaces the untouched cup of cold recaf in front of the Lord Inquisitor with a new one, slightly steaming. The warrior Fenris folds his arms on his caramite-plated chest regally and says in a dour voice, Greetings, Inquisitor. You and I need to talk. True, kind of forgot about that Ulfar might also want to have a chat. Calcazar bows respectfully. Glory to the Emperor's angels of Fenris. Your words will be heeded, but my lord. Heinrix nods silently at Calcazar, who responds by ever so slightly bowing his head. Awkward. So, first I'm barred from entering, and now I'm summoned here like a servant. An appalling way to treat a rogue trader. I offer my apologies. I've been slightly preoccupied, attempting as I am to deal with a dozen uprisings and 24 Xeno incursions, while also trying to convince the powers that be in the Expanse to unlock their jaws from around each other's throats long enough to listen to reason. Being familiar with your extravagant mode of communication, I thought it best to delay our meeting until a time when keeping my hands off a weapon would not be so great a trial. Grey-haired servant's eyes burn with vicious indignation, like an executioner's pyre lit by a fanatic. Who are you? And why are you called Frosher? Lady Navigator Cassia Tisifia Aurelia. Not Orselio? The Lord Inquisitor's lips curve into a thin smile as he catches a glimpse of scarlet eyes. I hear that House Orselia is going through a difficult time. Change is coming. I sincerely hope it is for the better. What a nice way to greet someone. I really hope we can call him out on all the accusations we heard. Your colours, Lord Inquisitor, are as rich as they are multifaceted. I've never encountered anything like it before. Unclouded hues flowing from one to the next. Amazing harmony. Amazing and frightening. Cassia raises her chin and nods demurely. That a man of such status and talents has taken an interest in the well-being of a Navis nobility house is a great honor. I don't know if he has an interest in the well-being and not just like spying. With what should we start? Usually like the later options can close off the first ones, so I would just go through it, even though I really want to call him out on what Emelina told us. I escaped from Gomorrah, where I was held captive by Xenos. Inquisitor raises an eyebrow, impressed. You escaped from the Dark City, a feat that few have accomplished. Truly, I congratulate you on an exceptional performance, and I won't even mar your triumph by telling you that the Inquisition will, of course, be watching you very closely henceforth. I sincerely hope that your grand escape was not part of the Xenos' devious machinations. Yeah, true, as if you cared about cooperation with Xenos. Yet, I'm surprised that this Xenos is still alive. What is it, your lordship? Sentimentality? Revenge? Cold calculation? Calcazar gives Yrliet a long, significant look. If you do not finish her off yourselves, send word when you have tired of her. My acolytes will be only too eager to learn her secrets. Oh boy. I wonder sometimes if it would be nicer to just like leave Yrliet behind for those kind of meetings. But hey, we don't even have that option. Clenching her jaw to the point of pain, Yrliet hisses Aeldari curses under her breath, but retreats half a step. I've looked into the eyes of death, and of creatures far more dangerous than you, monkey. Do not frighten me.
So, you wish to speak to the Lord Inquisitor, Ulfar?
Bring it.
Fight, fight, fight. Indeed. You petitioned our aid in fighting Xenos. We spilled much alien blood. But the wind of battle carried me far, and I lost contact with my pack. Do you know where I can send out my brothers, the baleful Howl?
I'm afraid not. According to the information in my possession, they withdrew from the battle raging in the Expanse. Lord Inquisitor's differential tone now carries a dry edge. Is he hinting on them abandoning the Inquisition? Or is it just an honor thing and like, oh, they ran away from a fight?
You lie! The baleful Howl never runs from battle.
Ulfar's reply to the outrageous claim is surprisingly calm. Only the frosty chill of death born from his voice and carried across the room makes everyone's hair stand on end. It would be a quick fight. Even Inquisition agents with all their weapons and armor would be crushed by an Astartes. I mean, that's the thing. It would also in this situation be like 6 against 1 or 2 if you count the servant. I mean, the servant probably is like a very good bodyguard.
So what do you mean, withdrew?
Contrary to my request to continue hunting the Xenos, they embarked on an expedition whose objective is unknown to me. There have been no word of them since.
Sounds suspicious. This is not how we wolves conduct ourselves.
I can tell you no more. As you well know, your pack preferred not to report their plans and intentions to me. Albeit no match for Ulfar's tongue of ice, the coldness in Calcazar's voice, too, could freeze an entire world. It is such a lovely meeting.
So, what do you think they diverted their attention?
I presumed it was to search for Brother Ulfar. It is common knowledge how deeply space wolves value the ties of brotherhood, far more deeply than the ties that bind them to the other subjects of the Emperor. Yep, they don't like the Inquisition, and the Inquisition don't like them.
You know, people disappearing in the vicinity of the Inquisitor is always cause for suspicion. If this is some scheme of yours...
The Inquisitor dryly interrupted the Elf-Father's warrior. Dare I remind you that your presence in the Expanse is not a favor to me, but the promised repayment of a debt. I was not so haughty when I returned your lost brother to Fenris. I did not demand recompense for my faithful servants who died saving them. I kept secret those details that could have damaged your honor. Why then does your gratitude taste so poisonous? Mention of Ulfar's lost brother makes him grind his teeth in anger, before he falls sullenly silent. I want to know what happened, but of course, some kind of leverage. Arbiter General Bax von Stern. Inquisitors, they are sneaky bastards. Useful, yes, even necessary. I wouldn't buy a used air car from one of them. Makes sense.
Is there any way you can help find them?
No, but I believe I know someone who is better informed. And I will name that person as soon as we finally start discussing the matter that prompted me to summon your lordship.
You know, one of your acolytes, Emelina, accused you of cooperating with Xenos.
I guess it's still the Lord Inquisitor answering? That's also weird. That happens still quite a few times. The game bugs around with the portrait and the camera position. I would remind you that the particularities of the Inquisition's work lie far beyond a rogue trader's purview. But given the circumstances, yes, Acolyte Lichtenhardt's words are true. It has been several years since I established contact with the Drukhari. They informed me of upcoming raids, and I thwarted them. I kept the Expanse safe while the Xenos were absorbed in their internal squabbles, which are of little interest to me. Of course. Which also explains why Achilles Calendar knew all those things. But still, fishy. And I mean, as if the Drukhari didn't do that was something they want. Strictly speaking, one might regard my actions in this situation as unorthodox at the very least. In reality, however, they are undoubtedly beneficial. Acolyte Lichtenhardt has demonstrated her inability to surmount the bounds of convention, and had she been in my position, the Expanse would have likely already fallen under the blow of the present crisis. Fortunately for you, she is not, and the Drukhari, drained by their power struggles and bereft of their best raiders, can do nothing more than run from her fleets. I mean, they just orchestrated catching me, but I'm sorry. And oh boy, the hypocrisy. Heinrix, I have to say I'm disappointed by how easily information pertaining to the Expanse security reaches the ears of those who should not be privy to it. This will be noted in your record. Would you care to put my concerns to rest and tell me that Emelina is not out there running amok around my sector and continuing to sow unrest? In response to Calcazar's question, Harry's eyes narrow, smoldering with anger. Emelina's dead, by my hand.
Indeed. Well, I hope I can continue to trust you, to know when a useful resource is finally exhausted and must be disposed of.
This whole do not interact, do not deal with Xenos, but of course the Inquisition does that. That is so stupid and pretentious.
Your Lordship, I hope it goes without saying that I would appreciate you not spreading dangerous and misleading rumors going forward.
Why is it misleading is the truth?
And keeping the content of this conversation private. Given the current state of affairs, I would have to treat such actions as subversive, so I thank you in advance for your considerate silence. So, what is the current situation in the Expanse?
Cults of the Final Dawn and Drukhari raiders are vying with each other to see who can cause us the greatest turmoil. I've mobilized all the forces I can to repel the attacks, which is why we're still alive. But my militia brigades are hunting for Xenos and guarding convoys, and expeditionary platoons under my command are crushing heretic rebellions. The situation is unstable, but I will not pretend that I was prepared for this crisis. However, we have not lost our footing yet. I'm sure you're just doing that with the best interest of humanity in mind. I mean, he freaking made Insenia Chorda rule over footfall. What kind of stupid decision was that?
So, what has prompted the Drukhari to act so brazenly?
Prison interrogations indicate that an incident occurred in the Dark City, what the Xenos call a disjunction. That was us. A dimensional calamity that forced them to stop their raids in rear space. Step up their raids. The contrary.
Their audacity speaks to their desperation, which in turn will translate into new trials for a servant.
But I wonder why dimensional calamity means they have to step up their raids. I am confused. It's funny, an Inquisitor of his status should have access to an army, at least a division of the tempestuous science. Yeah, in general, I don't really know what his game is. Yrliet sighs raggedly, her voice scarcely above a whisper. And so your quest for revenge has brought forth a new era of suffering for Monkey Alantak. Are you satisfied? I mean, wow. Wow, Yrliet. I mean, otherwise people would be tortured in Komorra. I don't see that as an issue.
Why has the cult of the Final Dawn become more active?
The warp is raging. This baleful sign always portends change. And crises beget desperation, the most fertile ground for heresy. I believe the Arch-Enemy's servants think their time has come. Or perhaps this day was marked in their profane scripture as the date of the end of existence. I will not trouble myself with further attempts to make sense of the blasphemous doctrine. They are bent on destroying us all, and so they must be destroyed. But I think it would be very interesting to know more about the Cult of the Final Dawn. I mean, either he's bad at his job, or he's just not telling us. Because I mean, especially with Heinrix working a lot on the Final Dawn stuff, he also has to know that there's something more going on, right?
What exactly makes you think you are capable of commanding the whole sector?
Do you see a better candidate for the job? The Lord Inquisitor closes his eyes warily for a moment. Yes, I guess. May no longer be in the first flush of youth, but believe me when I say that there are many things I would much rather be doing than playing constable to the Koronus Expanse. But alas, every ruler in our sector chooses to confine their concern to the well-being of their own holdings, whereas I alone must take care of all. Sure. He's the Inquisitor, he'll never trust you completely. True. Unfortunately, true. I mean, I also don't trust him, so we're even.
So, you have mobilized all forces, but not House von Valancius.
But also not really House Winterscale, right? Are you not standing before me now? While your status remained unclear, I preferred not to requisition the resources of the von Valancius Protectorate. Your people dealt with the Yrliet, the Cruel's agents, and with Xenos raids, and that was enough for me. But now's the time to add your might and talent to the scales. Interesting. I think we didn't hear anything new about Yrliet the Cruel since encountering him on Kiavagama. The very warped-looking Psyker.
But you must have an ingenious plan to save the Expanse, right?
The glance tossed at you is like a shot from an autopistol at point-blank range. If such a plan were to exist, information about it would be of the utmost secrecy. I suggest you focus on the current strategy of putting out each fire as you encounter it.
I understand. I still don't trust you.
I see no need to get bogged down in the details. To prize you of all the information I currently possess would require more time than we have.
What exactly was the dispute between you and Caligus Winterscale about?
His lordship deemed it more important to show off his stubbornness than to safeguard the interests of the Expanse. Stupidity of the most burdensome kind. My sources inform me that he nevertheless had joined efforts against the Xenos, and so I've decided to stay any sanctions. For a time. It kinda seems, I mean, once more, the same as in Act 3 it was, I think. He seems quite hard on us, and I don't really get why. Like, he's very quick to threaten us and use things to, well, get us to do things. I wouldn't tell him about, well, Korn's influence on Calcazar, because it sounds like Calcazar could be a close ally for us in the future, and I think if I tell Calcazar about that, he will just try to dispose of him, right?
I see.
Rest assured that his lordship will face the consequences of his actions.
Are you aware of the changes Insania had wrought on Footfall?
Naturally. Her ladyship has done me an invaluable service by taking on the task of instilling order on the station. What the heck? Though her style of leadership seems unnecessarily brutal to me, on the whole, her actions have not exceeded the bounds I set. Yeah, you definitely want the best for everyone, Calcazar. Oh boy.
I convinced Jorda of her error in her beliefs. She has left the station.
I'm surprised you managed such a feat. However, it is probably for the best. I assumed the two of you would clash, but I expected a more tragic outcome. I admire your zeal for peacekeeping. Seems like a quality you're not sharing.
Alright, so what help do you want from me?
Frosher, if you please. The Inquisitor nods imperiously at the servant, who draws some kind of remote control from his pocket. All sounds whose sources are more than 3 meters away fade to nothing. Ooh. Like a silence barrier. I wonder why that was not activated like the whole time already. If you can do that, why not use it the whole time? To my chagrin, the ability to be in 2 places at once does not number among my talents, and that is why I wish for you to serve in my stead. Huh. It surprises me that he would trust us with that, give us both that power and the responsibility. And I still don't trust him. What is he up to? I place such trust in very few people, you understand. You will feel what it is to walk in my shoes and attempt to compel a gaggle of Coruscant blockheads to work together. But I guess he just wants to do something else, something more important. And what is that? You will reconquer Euphrates too for me. The Inquisitor gestures to the servant, and the silencing field disperses. Interesting. Just for that short amount of time, he wanted to shield the room. Pressure. Another recap. This one has gone cold. Also weird. Inquisitor Lord Fyodor Karamazov. There's no such thing as a plea of innocence in my court. A plea of innocence is guilty of wasting my time. Guilty. Sounds like the Inquisition. Pasqal jerks his head up, clearly recognizing the name Calcazar just uttered. Actually, the first time... No. What? Euphrates the 2, I guess. And Edward points at the servant.
Is he your valet, or another Inquisition assassin?
Why not both? That's actually what he says. Why can't both be true? Frosh has been a member of my retinue for 50 Terran years, and the person in my entourage who comes closest to being my confidant. Something akin to a warm smile touches the Inquisitor's lips. I've had a cause to be involved in many incidents whose report have since been marked with a seal of silence. Do you want to be a close confidant of the Lord Inquisitor? I don't know. Frosh nods deferentially, and on his age-jowled faces appears an expression caught between eternal loyalty, motherly affection, and religious devotion. Okay.
So, to what do I owe such an honor?
To whom else could I entrust this mission? No need to feign ignorance, Von Valencius. We both know the shortcomings of the other candidates for this position. At the present, in the Expanse, there are 2 people with the perspective and steady hand required to control this situation, and they are both standing in this room. So, if you will, dispense with the humble rogue trader act and win this war for me. I still don't trust you. I still don't know what game you're playing. What are you doing in the meantime? Of course you won't tell me.
Can you tell me more about Euphrates too?
I always want to say 5. Sacred word of the Adeptus Mechanicus, off limits to lay people. And that's why Pasqal reacted. I'm one of the few who do not worship the Omnissiah to have set foot on its surface. Or rather, I was. Now it is crawling with unbelievers. The despicable world bearers attacked and captured Euphrates 2, not 5. And the cult of the Final Dawn brought an entire horde of heretics to the planet. Registering a Sanctity Alpha priority mission, the scourge of corrupted misbelievers reigned over blessed workshops filled the Omnissiah's faithful with anguish, activating I had to read that first. Activating auto-ascetism protocol. I offer prayer to the liberation of the scared world. From beneath Pasqal's crimson robe comes the sound of mechanisms whirring to life, and dark bloodstains streak across the fabric. Okay. I didn't know that tech priests hurt themselves. I sent my troops to aid the Explorator's force laying siege to the world, but a rift occurred among the commanders. They need an authoritative general, and you are perfect for the role. Fellowship? My confidence is not misplaced, I trust.
So, what matter first brought you to Euphrates 2, out of interest?
An utterly transparent attempt to learn secret intelligence. I offered to make you my general, and you tried to pump me for information. Poorly done. How else would you do that? And of course he doesn't tell. It always was the moment the Emperor and Melchador died there was no one could keep it from becoming what it did. What? I'm confused, Alistair.
So, what do they want with Euphrates 2? Gosh.
The reason behind the machinations would be pure speculation at this point. Bring me prisoners to interrogate, and perhaps we will gain some much needed insight.
So, what forces do we have in place, and what is this rift that occurred between the commanders?
Exploratively Divine Cognizance 780-21 recalled its most combat-ready units to retake the world. It was supported by my most powerful strike fleet and a group of deadlier allies. Deadlier allies? I dispatched a pack of space wolves to hunt down the transgressors. Ah. Interesting. Unfortunately, the leaders have failed to find a common language. The esteemed Torvald is at odds with the conclave of the Mechanicus battle congregation, and the Omniscience servants find Torvald's strident nature off-putting. And neither group is fond of militant Sibylek, who commands my forces. Were not fond, to be precise. The esteemed militant perished along with his ship a week ago when his noble allies failed to support his offensive. Oh boy. The Inquisitor bows to Ulfar curtly. I recommend that you, too, go to Euphrates 2, my lord. Perhaps your pack was less reticent with the esteemed Torvald than me, and told him where they decided to direct their efforts.
It is a fine suggestion, which I accept gratefully, Inquisitor.
And you're probably very glad to just find his pack again, right? The expression of respect on Ulfar's face does a poor job of hiding his antipathy. I mean, we already know how he was able to enlist the aid of the Ancients of the Emperor. Leverage.
The situation is clear.
You will be given details when you arrive in orbit around Euphrates 2. We could decline. I don't think we can decline. I think we would be forced to do that.
I will smash the heretics.
I never doubted you, your lordship. The Emperor protects. Are you doing something, Frosha? You're not killing us. Probably like a very good and skilled assassin. Calcazar nods at the paper that his servant has deferentially delivered to the table. This document attests to the extraordinary powers you now have at your disposal. I'm counting on your success, Edward. Alright. The siege.
I always have a backup plan.
Let's go. And let's hope this is going to work out. But hey, more Space Wolves. That would be nice. Let's see if we can get them to cooperate.
Is there money to be made?
I mean, I like Ulfar. I like Ulfar, but I really can see how it's hard to cooperate with the Space Wolves. And especially the Space Wolves being kind of superstitious and very emotional, seem very at odds with the very logical and rational explorators, right? Alright. Now we just have to look for the system.